TT, you wouldn't know about it. Charlotte Tillbury text me back.
Yeah.
At me, look at me.
Send me free fucking stuff. I'm fucking poor.
Hello and welcome back. So today we are going to do a client tutorial on my friend Carly. So we're going to do glowy skin and a matte eye, a little bit smoky. So jumping right in, starting off with Carly's eyebrows, I'm going to take the Pink Honey Original Super Brow Hold Gel. And I'm just going to push them up and make sure I use them, set them in place with my finger. And then as a base for eyeshadow, I'm taking Charlotte Tillbury Flawless Filter Shade 4 and Peel Away Shade 2, and I'm just mixing them together and making sure I have a nice coverage on the eye but nothing too heavy. And then I'm just going to set that in place with a very light layer of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Flawless Powder Shade 1. There's me showing it off, trying to be a YouTuber look. So the first eyeshadow I'm going in with is an Inglot shade. It's 292. It is more so of a warm tone orangey shade, but I chose that because it makes Carly's eyes look so blue. And I think any kind of blue eyes or green eyes with these shades just make them pop. And the brush I'm using is actually a big brush. I'm not sure exactly what one. I think it's from eBay. Jessup is the name of it. So I'm just using a big brush to get full coverage across her lid and making sure I have a nice transition for my next shade. And then just using a clean brush just to blend the edges out into her skin. So the next shade is Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer Shade 3. I'm just using that on a Rebel Luna fluffy blending brush and keeping that more so on the edge of her eye, not going past the middle centre of her eye, like past her eyeball if her eye was open. I'm not going to bring the colour that far in just because it will close her eye shape, and I don't want to do that. I want to lift the edges of her eye up. So as you can see, I'm just using that shade and then I'm going back in with a blending brush to blend out the edges. So this is from a Morphe 9T palette. It's the nude shade in it, and I'm just using that on a packing brush to really cover the lid and set it down into place. And then again, same Charlotte Tilbury bronzer just to blur out the edges of that. Like, the dogs next door keep barking, so I'm pretty sure you have heard them in the background of the video. Don't at me, thank you. Anyway, so I'm going in with the LA Girl Deep Bronze Gel Eyeliner Pencil, and I'm just kind of, well, putting on Carly's eyelid, but I'm not being super clean with it because I'm going in with a brush, and I'm going to use that brush to lift whatever product is left at the end of her eye up and give her eye a nice cat eye shape. You will see me as I do that, but I'm just going to keep blending that out and making sure it's as seamless as I can get it before moving on to my next shade. So the next shade I'm taking is actually an Inglot sculpting powder, but I'm using it as an eyeshadow. So I'm going to press that on top of the LA Girl with a little peaches and cream brush, and I'm just going to start building up that colour that I want, like a warm tone brown, just along the lower lash line, and then whatever's left on the brush I'm going to lift up towards the end, as you'll see, to give her eye that lifted shape. So on a tiny little brush, I'm going to start darkening the edge of that cat eye shape. So what I'm doing is I'm getting Carly to look straight ahead, and I'm going to mark out where exactly I'm going to get that wing to be. Then when she closes, I'm using the same brush from before to buff out the black so it's not too harsh and it's like a soft blurred wing. So it's not too heavy and it's just nice. So there I am saying look straight ahead. I'm going to do a little mark, and then when she closes I'll fill. I won't go past that mark, so I'm not going to bring the eye shape out too far so it won't look too dramatic. And then on the same peaches and cream brush, I'm taking the Inglot 511 shade, just buffing out the black so it's not too dark, as I said before, keeping it browns and just a little bit of black just to darken it up. And then just a clean brush just to blur the edges and lift her eye shape right up. See that? Fab. Same on the other side. And then I think I'm going to move on to lashes after this. Look at me jumping ahead of myself, like, no. So obviously we're not putting on lashes yet. We are cleaning up underneath Carly's eyes, so when we do put a base on for her eyeshadow for the lower lash line, it's nice and clean and fresh, and you won't have that grey look. Because sometimes if you leave little specks of eyeshadow, even if you can't see it, little bits of fallout, if you put a base down, that will mix with that and it'll just go so grey, and it'll just dull your whole under eye. So that's the Charlotte Tillbury shade 4 or shade 3 mixed with the Peeler's base 2. Just very, very light layer, whatever is left on the brush. I don't want to make underneath her eyes too cakey. And as you can see on the edge, I'm actually lifting it up and pulling that up to also help shape that wing. Lads, I am so sorry about the dog, like it just won't stop barking. But anyway, I'm going in with the Morphe Dark Room eyeliner, and I'm just going along her lash line, and at the end I'm actually connecting the wing that I have from the top to the bottom one, so it just looks like a seamless shape and there's no stop and start in the black. So just to brighten up her inner corner and really open up Carly's eyes, and especially because we didn't use a glitter and it is a matte eye, I'm going to go with the Charlotte Tilbury Champagne eyeshadow pot, and I'm just going to use that as a base for my shadow that I'm going to press on top, which is the Bobbi Brown Luxe eyeshadow in Moonstone. Absolutely love this eyeshadow. It's so gorgeous, and it just goes with every eye colour. I don't know what it is. If you haven't got it, you just need to get it. It's on Look Fantastic. Anyway, so underneath I'm going with the same shades that I used on top. That is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer, and then I will buff out the edge of it with the Inglot 292 shade. So I'm going to use the Inglot 292 shade on the top as well, just to blur the edge between the Inglot 511 Sculpt and the cream shade. Then just on a disposable spoolie, I'm just putting a layer of mascara on Carly's eyelashes, and then popping 2 layers of eyeshadow. Oh my god, what? I already done eyeshadow. 2 layers of oh my god, 2 layers of eyelashes, okay? 2 layers of eyelashes. One is a real voluminous one and the other one is for length. So I like to mix them, but that's just my preference. Also, another PSA, I've no earphones or a mic, so I'm just talking into my phone. That's why the quality's so bad. Anyway, moving on to skin, I'm taking the Weleda Skin Food in the light moisturiser, so it's not too heavy, and I'm just going to buff that into her skin, and then I'm using the number 7 airbrush primer, and I'm going to use that as a almost like a pore filler, just to make sure Carly's skin is as smooth as possible, and it's great for her base, so her foundation just looks flawless, which it will in the end, because she is gorgeous. So I'm going to go in then with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter shade 3 or 4 on the highest point of her face, just to give that extra boosted glow. So I'm going to go in as well with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Prime and Spray. It's actually a setting spray, but it's like a primer too. It says on the bottle you can use it as a primer, so that is what we're going to do. So for Carly's foundation, I'm actually mixing 2 foundations together. So I'm mixing the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I think I have shades 6.75 for Carly. And I mixed it with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Flawless Airbrush in shade 5. So I mixed a little bit of them 2 together. And I'm doing a really, really light layer first. I know it probably looks full coverage, but honestly, it really wasn't. It was very sheer, and I could still see a few of Carly's little freckles. So anywhere that I will want extra coverage, I will use a little bit more foundation over them areas, or a little bit of concealer. I just prefer not to use too much foundation at once. So as you can see, I'm just using a Peaches and Cream brush for Carly's foundation. Now Peaches and Cream always do like bundle offers, so just go onto their site and keep an eye out, or even sign up to their notification thing, because they always have like bundles for like €40 with like 5 or 6 good brushes in them. So I do recommend them, especially to people in lessons. I always say you should get them. Then just making sure it's as flawless as I can get it, and going over any areas that need extra coverage with a little bit of foundation, what's left on the brush. Right, so this concealer, okay, I actually went into Boots to the number 7 stand to get something else, and the girl recommended this, and I was like, it was 3 for 2, okay, give me it, let's see what it's all about. It's the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Concealer. I think it's about €20. I swear to God, girls, unbelievable. It's so brightening. Like, I know people, it obviously says Lift and Illuminate, but it really, really does that. So I'm going to use a little bit of that and then just buffing it in with the sponge, just to make sure I get nice even coverage. Now there is a little part of the eye that I can still see when I'm doing a voiceover that's not blended at her nose and her inner corner, but I will blend it, so don't freak out. But anyway, I'm just putting that concealer down her nose, her forehead, under her eyes and around her mouth and chin, just to bring forward the middle of her face and just really highlight that. I also like going over any like areas of the skin, like the underneath the eyes, anywhere like around her mouth with the sponge, just so it's not too cakey, because they are the areas that actually crease the most. So you want as minimal product as possible, just so you don't have as much creasing. So anyway, for cream contour, I used the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Toffee, and the brush that I'm using is the Peaches and Cream one that I was talking about. It's from the bundle I talk about. I think it's like the face kit. It's about €40, but I'm using the angled brush from that just to push in that contour and lift up her cheekbones, and then just blurring the edge of it out with the same foundation brush. So for setting the under eye and everywhere where we put that number 7 concealer, I'm taking the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Powder shade 1. This is like, there's nothing like it. I can't find anything similar. I can't find any dupes. I am on the hunt to let everyone know, because it is quite expensive, but it is very, very, very worth it. Like, clearly, obviously, big fan, but I can't do makeup without it. Really can't. So I'm putting that everywhere where I put the concealer, and then just using the shade 2 in the same product in the Airbrush Flawless powder just on the rest of her face. It's just to set it so it's not too tacky. So next product is bronzer. So I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, Airbrush bronzer shade 2. I prefer number 2 than 3. I feel like 3 is very like orange for me. And for clients, I do mix them if I am going to use 3, and I prefer to use 3 as an eyeshadow. But obviously for people that are a lot darker and have a lot more tan on, 3 is perfect. But for people that are just medium tanned, it's number 2 is just the way forward. So I'm just using that on the edges of her face, like her cheekbones, up around her forehead, and just whatever's left on the brush, just to slim down the sides of her nose. And then the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso, just as a base for our Charlotte Tilbury Pink Gasm Beauty Light Wand blush. I know I say I can't do makeup without any of these products, but obviously these are like my go-tos at the moment. So this is the Beauty Light Wand in shade Pink Gasm. It's absolutely beautiful. There is a highlighter in it, so when she turns her face to the side, there's that gorgeous sheen, and that's without any highlighter. This is the Becca Glow Glaze stick, a little bit of it on my finger, and I'm just dabbing it on the high points of her face, just for that extra bit of dewiness and that like boosted glow. So jumping back to Carly's eyebrows, we are gonna I fill in brows after I do makeup, because obviously sometimes powder and products can get into the brow. So for eyebrows, after I push them up, I go in with Inglot JLo brow gel in the shade Truffle. Now 16 and 17 are very similar, so I'm gonna mix that tiny little bit of brow gel with a good drop of Duraline, so it is very watery, and I'm gonna use that as an almost tint looking like product in her eyebrows. I still want to see all the hairs, and I still want them to be as realistic as possible without making them too blocky and too fake looking. So lastly, we're on to lips. So for Carly's lips, I'm actually using the Cash Beauty True Nude Lip Liner. So I'm just going to get that right in there, darken up her edges before I go in with my favourite lipstick, like could be ever, but obviously my mood changes. But the Charlotte Tilbury Kim KW lipstick. It's the most pinkiest, nudiest, perfect lipstick ever, and you will see that now. And then just taking a bit of the P. Louise Hollow Gloss on a disposable lip wand, just to blend in the lipstick and the lip liner and make sure it's all seamless.
Oh, can I fix my hair?
Again, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love this look on Carly. It makes her eyes look so blue. And if you have any suggestions for my next video, just leave a comment below. Hopefully I'll have more very soon. So thanks for watching and bye.